Welcome to the Keeping the Nostalgia Alive show. I am your host, Billy Powell. As you can see, with us today is Indiana All-Star, a University of Evansville ace legend, Springs Valley Blackhawk. I can go on and on, but we want to do the interview. Marv Pruett. Mr. Pruett, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to share your nostalgia and your memories of the great game of basketball from the state of Indiana.
Thank you very much.
You know, it's interesting. I've got a couple goodies here. I've got this one, which you're in quite often. And I also have the Springs Valley, the short and long basketball scorebook from that 1958 season. I've had Coach Rex Wells on 3 times on the show, and he was not much older than you as a high school student when he took over the program.
He was 25. And
So,
of course, I was 16.
so he was like a father figure to a lot of you guys.
I think so.
So tell everybody a little bit about where you were born and raised and who introduced you to athletics.
I was born and raised in West Baden, Indiana, in a rural farm area. And I guess my introduction to basketball was watching, the state finals, and always admired Oscar Robinson as a player. And that was my really introduction to the game. Coach Wells was my junior high coach for a short period of time, and then he was called into service. And from then on, it was just kind of a building program at West Baden. And from then, of course, when they formed the consolidation, I was a junior, and we had a good program at West Baden when Coach Wells was my coach there as a sophomore. And we went to the finals of the sectional at Huntingburg that year, and that was, of course, that was the last season for West Baden after the consolidation. So that was basically my introduction to the game, and then from there I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship and went to Evansville and played for the Coach Aaron McCutcheon, and started 79 straight games for him.
What, did you have a basketball hoop at the house?
Yes, my brother and I, he was a couple years older than I was, and he and I played one-on-one, and we had made a goalpost and played rain or shine or whatever, if it was wet or whether it was snowy, played with gloves on. And the first basketball I ever had was and you probably don't recall them, but the lace-up type. It wasn't a rubber. I didn't have rubber basketballs back then, and but we made the best of it. And he was on that 57 team, the last team for West Baden, and was a good athlete as well.
So, were you also? What other sports did you play? Did you play baseball also?
I played baseball. I wasn't real good at it, but I played it. Of course, we didn't have football, but that was the 2 primary sports.
And what was the atmosphere like at West Baden during a basketball game? Was it hard to get a ticket?
Well, it was a small gym. Probably wouldn't have held more than 1,000 or 1,200 people, and normally it was a full house. yeah, the atmosphere was hysteria type.
Did you listen to the finals on the radio? Were they on TV at that point in time?
They were on TV. Yeah, they were on TV, and of course we could get the normally the sectional or semi-state on the local channels, like at Huntingburg, semi-state in Evansville, and so on. They were on TV at that time.
What was your thought process when Coach Wells took over the squad?
Well, I was familiar with him from the standpoint of he coached me the year before at West Baden, and we, like I said, we had a good season. Went to the finals of the sectional, and Jasper beat us, and Jasper ended up going to the semi-state that year, and so I knew that from a coaching standpoint that he would put together the two schools, and needless to say, it turned out great.
Was he a demanding coach? What kind of coach was he compared to Coach McCutcheon?
He was more of a philosophical type coach that he didn't overcoach us. He let us be players, and each of us knew the other's position and where we should be on the court, and he was always giving us an encouragement, to do better.
Timothy Wright wrote a great book. It's called The Valley Boys, a story of the 1958 Springs Valley Blackhawks. And I got a copy right here. And the nice thing is Jim, I had him on the show, and the gentleman autographed the book for me. It's a fabulous book. Tell us about, did you guys think you had something special at the beginning of that year?
I don't think it really entered my mind. I don't know whether the other players did or not. As far as having not played together, we had some good players on both teams or both schools, and as the season started, we came to realize, as a unit, that we had something special. But I don't think going in, I don't think anybody thought that. I don't think Coach Wells thought it as well.
About how many games in did you guys think, wow, we haven't lost? Will we lose?
I don't think as a team we ever really gave that much thought to it as far as we was going to be great or not. We played as a team, and as a result, we knew what coach expected, and the final results ended up, great. We could have easily, as a new consolidation, went 1-25 instead of 25-1.
What was the thought process, or what of the consolidation? Was it a welcomed idea? Were people aggravated about the idea?
No, it wasn't a welcomed idea initially. Of course, West Baden and French Lick were two rivals for small town schools, and being so close together, and a lot of the businessmen in French Lick were fighting it and didn't really want it, and as a result, Jim Ballard, a gentleman that ran the Springs Valley paper, my father-in-law, and Coach Wells's Aunt Harriet were the three main people that pushed it and got the ball rolling as far as the consolidation was concerned. And at first, it wasn't well accepted, but as the season progressed, it all came together.
Did you start getting looks for college during your junior year?
I think I did.
Do you remember some of the first people that were interested in you coming to play for them?
Well, Coach McCracken was at IU. There was Kentucky, Adolph Rupp. I don't know exactly all their names anymore. Norm Sloan at North Carolina, but I had a lot of schools after my junior year, and then into my senior year, I had about 250 schools that was interested. Or coach, and I let Coach Wells. A lot of them contacted through him, and I think he kept. Excuse me. I think he kept a lot of the pressure off.
Tell us about that run that you guys had in 1958. I know Coach Wells talks about it in depth, but what was it like going through the mind of a teenager and you guys, going through the Final Four? And of course, all the people who are watching have seen the movie Hoosiers and know what it's like to see, Butler Fieldhouse at that time, Hinkle Fieldhouse now. But what was that run like in 58?
Well, it was an experience. I think that I wish that every athlete could have, especially the run that we made, and we made by winning some close games. But it was an experience that I'll never forget. We beat a Terre Haute Gersmar team in the semi-state at Evansville that we were not expected to win, and of course we ended up beating Princeton in the finals of the semi-state, and of course that made us 25-0, and then went to the state and met Mike McCoy and Fort Wayne South. That was a lot bigger and a better ball club at that particular time than we were.
On that Gerstmeyer team, was Tommy John on that Gerstmeyer team?
That was I can't think of his name now. Played at big Charlie Hall. Charlie Hall was the center, and they had a great ball club, and they were ranked up in the state. And of course, we ended up beating them by 10 or 11 in the afternoon game. And of course, Jeffersonville, I think, was one of the favorites as well, and Princeton upset them. And of course, we jumped on Princeton real quick, and had them down like 23-8, and it was all over from there.
You also had to go up against, may he rest in peace, Alan Nass at Huntingburg.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Alan, well, in fact, Alan's team the next year in 59 beat us in the final game of the sectional that year. Yeah, Alan was a good friend of mine. He and I played on the All-Star team together. He was, I was number 8 and he was number 10.
What was it like being put on being an Indiana All-Star, being named to the Indiana All-Star team? What was that like?
Well, I think it's probably every basketball athlete that plays always entertains that thought, whether they're good enough to make it or not. It's an honor, especially in the state of Indiana.
Do you think you guys could have done anything different to beat that Fort Wayne team and possibly have gone on to the final game?
They beat us actually in the first half, and we held pretty well even in the second half. I think a lot of it was the size, and there again, their defense and the scoring. We didn't get the scoring out of some of our players that we normally did, and that you can attribute to their defense and size.
Had you played at the Butler Fieldhouse before you guys went to the Final Four?
No, never been in it other than when I played for Evansville.
Was that kind of was there a little bit of a wow factor, or was it a little bit intimidating when you guys went? Or do it's kind of like the movie Hoosiers, Gene Hackman, they measured the rim and all that kind of stuff in the movie. What was it like? What was your kind of reaction to playing at Butler Fieldhouse and actually going in, of course, practicing? And
well, it's a different atmosphere in Butler Fieldhouse. Of course, Roberts Stadium in Evansville was a big open stadium as well, and we had that as well there. I don't think that environment really had that much effect, other than the fact maybe since here we are in the state finals and playing a Goliath, if you want to call it.
After that 58 season, you guys would have probably have gone back to the Final Four, but you lost one of your key players to the state of Florida, right?
Yeah. Paul Radcliffe. Yeah. Paul was a good friend. His dad was with the postal department, and he decided that, a transfer of jobs, and he left and moved to Florida, and as a result, he became a fabulous player down there, and he was a good player when he was here at Valley.
What made you choose the University of Evansville?
I was leaning toward Indiana University, but I didn't want to go someplace where I was going to sit on the bench. And as you know, back then you had to set your first year on the bench because of the NCAA rules. And the reason I didn't go is, of course, I played with Ray Pavey. He's gone now, and Jimmy Rail, both of them had already committed to Indiana University. And of course, history speaks for itself on Jimmy Rail, great scorer and so on. And that was one of the biggest reasons that I didn't go to Indiana University. I figured I wanted to play close to home. And as a result, I decided to go to Evansville. And like I said, I started 79 straight games for Coach McCutcheon.
Did Branch actually come and see you?
Yes.
I always try to do 6 degrees of separation with my guests, and Coach Gene Ring, who played for Branch McCracken and was an assistant on Branch's staff, was my athletic director at Broad Ripple High School. So there's my input on my 6 degrees of separation for our little story today.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew Coach Ring or not.
No.
Okay. And what was it like getting to? So you played freshman ball though at Evansville, right? What was it like? Did you feel like you made the right choice?
I did. I knew I was going to be setting out a year anyway. You know what I mean? And as such, we had a good freshman club, and we ended up playing a lot of intramural type games because of scheduling and so on. but we had a lot of talent on the team, and of course, as a freshman, you don't know whether you're going to make it or not, since you're sitting out a year. And but Coach McCutcheon, he done a great job of teaching you the basics if you didn't already know
What was it like to wear those robes?
them.
And did you swipe one? Do you own one? Is there one in your closet?
I didn't swipe one. I did swipe a uniform, but everybody from the Midwest to the West Coast always was. I don't know how to explain it. They were joking about it. Here comes the team in wearing looks like bathrobes. But anyway, we had comments from all the schools, that especially going to, at that time, we played Los Angeles State out there and on a home and home, and we got them in Denver, and we got them in Utah, all the trips on the road. It was kind of neat.
What was the idea behind that T-shirt jersey?
Coach McCutcheon always thought that it made more visibility of your body as a player. I didn't particularly care for them because I always pull mine open because they always seem tight and restrictive around the your armpit area. But that was his philosophy and his desire for us to wear them. So that was it.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, in '58 they won the national championship while you were still in high school, right?
59.
59.
Yeah, 59, 59-60. They won. I was a freshman. That's when Ed Smallwood and Dale Wise and who was from Kokomo, and they had a Hugh Allring and Cox. Can't think of his first name now.
Harold.
Daryl, yeah.
Harold
Cox. He was from Kokomo as well, and had a great team. And so their one-loss record was good, and Coach McCutcheon, he was always encouraging the players and was well respected by them.
What was playing in Roberts Stadium like, and what was the atmosphere at those Aces college games?
Oh, it was outstanding. We had my years there. We had 10, 12,000 at all the games, and the year that they won in 1959 60 season, when they won the NCAA Division II, they were second to Kentucky in attendance in the nation. And the atmosphere was, it's wide open. I don't know if you've ever been to Roberts Stadium or not, but the atmosphere was a wide open seating that you could see from about anywhere. And of course, I guess we didn't notice it, but the only bad fault back then was they allowed smoking in it, and there was a blue haze every place. But other than that, of course, we had a lot of what they call red shirt fans. You see red every place because all the people that entertained, and it was a kind of like a social gathering on. If it was a Saturday night game, everybody was meeting, at the local restaurants and so on, and getting bus rides and what have you. There used to be a an eating establishment and tavern at Harold Stadium Inn that was close by, and people would all meet there, before the game. So it was a kind of a social outing for all the spectators.
Was Coach McCussion, was he pretty demanding?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't a demanding coach. He taught you the basics and the fundamentals that you were possibly lacking, and he encouraged you, to do better. And if you made a mistake, why, he didn't jerk you out right away. He expected you to learn by your mistakes and not, keep doing them. But he was an excellent coach, and one of the first Division II coaches to be in the National Hall of Fame.
I know smoking is a faux pas now, or look frowned upon, but there were some pretty awesome pictures with that haze for that nostalgic look in a lot of basketball stadiums.
Oh yeah. Well, IU is another one. That stadium up there, was the same way.
Are there a handful of games in your college career that you just always come to mind, or they'll pop in your memory on a daily basis? And where were some of your favorite? Of course, Roberts Stadium was one of your favorite places to play, but where were some of the favorite places that you like to travel to and play, or you felt like you even played better away at some of these gymnasiums or schools?
I don't know that I ever thought of that aspect of it, Billy. I enjoyed playing wherever we were. I didn't have any favorite spots. Of course, you always like to play at home, but I enjoyed the road trips to a lot of the different places that we were able to go. Of course, we didn't enjoy the benefits a lot of these teams do today, going, preliminary season and so on. But I did enjoy being able to go to to California, to Utah, Denver, some of the places that I'd never been in my lifetime.
Now, am I mistaken? Did you play against a couple of John Wooden teams?
No.
No. Okay. What was travel like getting the games back then?
Well, of course, most of the time we either took on the local front, we like to Indiana State or to Butler or so on. We took by car or bus, and on the far trips like to Denver or Utah or California, we flew, but it was either bus ride or car on the short trips.
Were you excited about that first visit to Butler Fieldhouse to play the Butler Bulldogs? After, of course, what happened in 1958?
I didn't really even give it a thought, Billy. I mean, I enjoyed going and playing wherever it might be, and some of the older gyms back then that we played in, like going to, of course, St. Joe is not even in existence to me anymore. Indiana State's old gym, we were kind of spoiled playing at Roberts Stadium. You know what I mean?
How did you guys do in tournament play while you played at the University of Evansville?
We ended up in the quarterfinals. In my senior year, we were 21-6, and we got beaten in the quarterfinals. But I was in between because Jerry Sloan I played with Jerry. I was a senior and he was a sophomore, and we got beaten the quarterfinals that year. And then the next year in '64, they won the Division II national championship.
What was Jerry Sloan like?
He was a great player, great individual.
With the players that were on your team, and of course Coach McCutcheon, did you continue to have contact with them after you left the University of Evansville?
Oh yes. I was here locally, and so as a result, I was a member of the tip-off club and so on, and I still see a few of them. Of course, at our age today, at PD, when we were, some of us are not around, but yeah, I still see a few of them. Of course, so some of them that I played with have passed on, and just recently, last year, Ed Zausch, who I played with, he passed on, and so I see some of the younger ones occasionally at the games, but.
What was going through your mind during your senior year at University of Evansville? What did you want to do with your life? What did you want to coach, and what did you do initially when you after graduating from the University of Evansville?
Of course, I was married my senior year, and I wanted to go into coaching, and as a result, when I graduated, I ended up I tried to get in the Evansville system, and of course, that as you might be aware, there's a lot of political stuff that goes on in the hiring process and so on. And Coach McCutcheon tried to get me in as well, and it didn't work out. But anyhow, I ended up getting a job at Shoals High School in Martin County, and stayed there for 3 years, and then got out of it.
What'd you end up doing for a living?
Yeah, I was in the insurance business.
What do you
think? The team there at Shoals, the first year we were 25-2. So,
what do you think about the game of basketball today compared to, we have the class system now? What do you think about class basketball and what it's done to the game?
I don't like it. I think it back when I was playing there at Valley, and we went to the state, there was almost, I think, close to 700 schools involved. And you had the little guy versus the big guy, and everybody likes to be a winner. But I think the class system has taken a lot away from the game, as far as that's just my opinion.
And what about the college game?
Oh, the college game, the game's changed so much with the 3 points, basket and so on. Everybody loves to see the 3-point goal score or the basket, but the percentages of intermediate shots and so on have all dropped. The high school game, it kind of amazes me. You see these kids go down and they're looking to see where the 3-point marker is, rather than worrying about making it. If it goes in, fine. I always kind of look at it this way, you live by the three or you die by it.
Do you agree with this comment that today's game, be it high school or college, it's more of a selfish approach, like what, let me get mine. And back when you played the game, both college and high school, it was more of a team effort. It's not such a team effort anymore. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree. Totally agree with it. Like I said earlier, that Valley team, Coach Wells made us know the positions on the floor. And as a guard, I could play, even though it wasn't that big, 6'2", I could play center, or I knew what the center was going to do, and so on. So it was a team unit, and there's no I in team. And that I think today is, like you said, more prevalent. It's more about the individual.
Tell us about your relationship with Coach Wells today.
Coach Wells and I stay in contact all the time. Not probably as much as we should, but we talk every month or so. And he was home here to French Lick in May, and his daughter called me and said, "We're going to be in town. We want you to come and visit." My wife and I, Barbara, we went up and spent the day with him. And Coach Wells is or was like a father image to me, because back when I was a sophomore at West Baden, my dad was injured seriously in a rock quarry accident. And at that time, Coach Wells and I talked, and I told him, I said, "Well, Coach, I'm going to have to quit the team, because," I said, "my mom needs help and my dad's totally disabled." And he talked me into staying, and as a result, he has made me what I am today.
Absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Man. So the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame calls you. Who called you, and what did that mean to you?
Well, Sam Alford called me one night, and that was back in December of 14, and informed me that I had been accepted. And one night I was sitting here, and I couldn't believe it. But anyway, I was overwhelmed, really, to think that I had been nominated before Coach Wells had nominated me, and it had taken that long, based on some of my record and so on. But anyway, it was something that I'll always remember, with all the great players in this state, to be able to be nominated and be accepted into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
What does Marv Pruett do in retirement?
Nothing. I do a lot of fishing and so on. I used to play a lot of golf up until I had well, I'll tell you this story. I came home on a Thursday after being inducted in the Hall of Fame. And that afternoon, I had a heart attack and ended up having open heart surgery in 2015 in March. And since that time, I haven't played that. I play once in a while golf, but as you get up to my age, why your priorities change. And
where do you live now?
Pardon?
Where do you live now?
In Newburgh.
Newburgh. Okay. Okay. I always get those time changes. Those time changes just throw a curveball to me every time.
We ought to be on Central Standard Time, everybody, we're in the time zone. But that's part of the big business world, and of course we'll be changing here in November again. You'll still be an hour ahead with the Eastern time.
Do you get back to Evansville basketball games often, or?
No, I don't go that much anymore. It's changed so much, Billy. Since they moved, they tore down Roberts Stadium. You knew that, and so on, and went about $180 million in debt to build the Ford Center down there, and the seating capacity is less, and unless you're on the floor level type, the seating is crowded, and of course they've been on a downstroke for the last several years, as far as winning and losses, and the team had a real setback when Walter McCarthy was there, and it'll take several years for it to get back. The tradition was really, I think, shocked when that happened.
And you had and you just came off of, it looked like everything was going well too, because you guys knocked off #1 Kentucky, and it looked like everything was, you know what I mean? But
that happens,
Yeah.
I mean, whether that was a fluke or not, but it was unfortunate, and they've got a new coach now, and hopefully, it'll progress in the right direction. It's difficult for, and you might agree or disagree, it's difficult for schools the size of Evansville to get the great players. It's a great academic school, but it's hard to get the players that have expectations of going to the next level. And reason being is there's not near the exposure there, even though they might be a great player. When you think about it, in the course of the season and all the players that there is throughout the country, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 are fortunate enough to be even thought of to make it to the pros.
Marv Pruett, Indiana All-Star, Final Four in 1958, University of Evansville legend. I went a little bit long. I appreciate your time, and everybody will enjoy this. I thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't mean to choke you up, but that's what I'm here for, because those memories, if they're not told, they won't be remembered.
Well, it's all real.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pruett. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
You too.